Alright, before we start this video, this disclaimer, and something I should have mentioned in the video, I didn't do it, I typically don't do this. Go ahead and disconnect the negative on your battery. And if you don't know, if you have the X7, it is in a hidden compartment in the trunk. Just disconnect the battery. You'll see why when we get to the video. But I think for your safety, let's do that. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. All right, so this is the first DIY, maybe the second DIY video on my 2021 BMW X7. If you already seen in the title, we're going to be changing out our spark plugs and coils. I'm currently sitting at 38,000 miles. I took it in for service. I thought I was still covered under the warranty period. Turns out I'm not, for free maintenance. And the dealership told me the cost would be for $2,400 in order to take care of the oil change, the filters, spark plugs, coil packs, all that stuff. And I was thinking to myself, you can DIY it, save yourself some money, or prepare to take out your wallet and spend some money. And $2,400 is quite a bit of money. Even $1,000 would be quite a bit of money for how easy this is. I should preface, this is the N63 motor. I've done spark plugs on the N63 on my 2014 BMW X5. I've also done a video with my X5M on the S63 motor in my 2016. So this one, this will be the first time I'm doing this on the, I think this is generation 3, the TU3. But this is a 2021, this is the M50i motor, so the 523 horsepower. That's in the same engine that's in the M550s. And the same engine that's going to be in your X6 M50i's and also the X5 M50i's. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to talk about the tools we need and the things we're going to have to obviously cover. So let's keep watching. So order all this stuff from FCP Euro. They're really good. They have the lifetime warranty on stuff. So let's say I buy this, I spent about $500 for everything, for the spark plugs, the engine air filters, which I'm gonna make on a separate video, and the ignition coils. So that was all $500. You're gonna say, well, you still spent money. I did, but let's say right now I've got, how many miles? I got 30, let's say 40,000 miles on this right now. Then the 40,000 miles, I'm gonna need to do the spark plugs again. Or if I set to tune it, I'm gonna do this again at 60K. Well, FCP Euro is lifetime warranty. So when these parts wear out again, I just send it back and get new parts and go from there. So basically it's a one-time spend. It's pretty cool, right? So I apologize, got the sniffles. The pollen is really bad right now, this time of year. But here's my ignition coils, and they just pop in over on top of the spark plugs. So to really just insert in, there's a little, these have a little bolt that screws into. And then even has the torque values that you should be seating for these, for tightening these spark plugs. I'm gonna check the gap. It's always important to check the gap with a tool on each of these plugs. These are BMW branded spark plugs, huh? I think I did, yeah, maybe I did order OEM. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna check these out, verify that this plug, the values are, it's not risk, is if you drop a coil pack on the ground, just replace it. It's not worth the hassle of taking the risk and going through this work if it doesn't even work. So if it falls on the ground, it's pretty much done. So take that for what it's worth. These videos are for, let's say, entertainment purposes. And I'm saying this because I'm showing you how to do these. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a licensed mechanic at all. I'm just a person who makes the videos. If you feel uncomfortable, I don't want anybody to mess up their cars or anything like that. So if you feel uncomfortable, there's something that you don't know how to do, just consult a licensed mechanic or just go with the dealership. But this is a fairly simple project. I'm gonna show you, basic tools. You can do these at home. Now with these spark plugs, in order for me to cancel face tracking. There we go. In order to do these, you'll have to get a tool, and you notice it has numbers here that tell you basically your gap. So here's the gap. The gap is what I'm referring to is the gap between, focus. It's not focusing. Hold on a second. There it goes. So the gap I'm referring to is the gap here on the actual spark plug. So when I insert the tool here on top, whatever fits snug is, look at the number, and it's giving me the number here. So I'm gonna just go through a few of these and see. I'm sure we're probably like a point, probably a 0.25 or 2.3 or something like that. 2.5. So other than the spark plugs, a few things you're gonna need. A few extensions. It's very lengths because sometimes you need to make some adjustments. I would say a 1/4 inch drive and then 3/8 inch drive, I think, between the two. A torque wrench for if you want to get accurate values for your spark plugs. As far as tightening them down, that's optional. Most people do hand tight. I have a tendency of overdoing it, so this is more of a way to keep me from over tightening it. You need a spark plug socket. I like this magnetic one from Schwaben, but I'll link all this in the description. It's magnetic, so basically when it captures your spark plug, it can hold on to it without having to have a rubber grommet like your traditional ones. This is a thin-walled socket. That's for BMWs. You're gonna need this thin-walled one. Let's see, sockets you're gonna need just to help you. 10 millimeter. Let's see, an 8 millimeter. You're gonna need 6, and then you're gonna need an E8. This is for removing the bolts on top of the coil packs. And some of these other ones, you just have some miscellaneous things like removing the intake box. So a Torx 27 and then a Torx 20 for removing some of the brackets. And I have a Torx 20 longer. This might be helpful too here. And then of course needle nose pliers to help you assist in some ways if you need. And a small, thin, like flathead screwdriver to kind of break those clips to kind of pop those safety locks off. Lights are optional if you want. But yes, that's all I need. I will link it in the description. Okay, let's get the hood open. Pull twice on the hood latch on these cars. 1, 2. Okay, so it doesn't look too bad. Looks like I just got to move from the airboxes here. Release the airboxes. Let me go ahead and pull this cover off. And then, actually, wow. It's more open than I thought it would. Once these airboxes are done, I can see the back plug way back there. Usually on my X7M, it was a little tougher to get to. Okay, this might be easier than I thought. So I'm gonna start by loosening these worm clamps for let's see, Torx 20 to get off the these little tiny screws here on the airbox. Okay. 11:55. We'll just call it start time now. So in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This air filter looks clean already. This thing's barely dirty. Look at this. And since I'm here, I might as well change it, but I have a brand new one in the box. Let's compare. Okay, maybe it's a little bit. I mean, 30,000 miles, not too terrible, but all right, let me get the correct side. I'm gonna loosen this bolt here to get the rest of that off here. That box, I'm gonna remove the lid. Six millimeter. So Torx has a TORX 20 T20, and then 6 millimeter for this. So far, is all I've been using. Obviously, various extensions and things can help. And look at that. It came off from this end, not even that one. So I loosened that worm clamp for no reason. All right, this one has no screws. I don't know how it's being held in here. So I'm doing spark plugs. I really don't want anything dust getting into the holes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's 4 on the other side. With the last V8s, the one of my 2014 and my 2016, I had to remove the coolant reservoir. So it's nice that it's not even here. It's actually in the front now. So yeah, thanks for BMW for making this a little easier for us. Well, before I say that, looks like there's 1, 2, 3. Maybe this brace needs to come off. So for this T27, I'm gonna show you what I'm looking for. I need to remove this bolt right there. I need to remove this one here. And then there's one more right there. This is the bracket that holds the airbox. So remove this, and then I'll need basically a Torx for this, or for these plugs, and I'll have them all exposed. So T27 for this one. $10mm for this other one. This one's gonna be a little careful hand do it because I don't want to drop it like I just almost did in my engine bay. So here, you can see that I have these plugs that I need to get off. Let's see what I can do. Found this small flathead attachment, but I had to pop out these tabs, and this is what I did. Stuck this right in here like this, and really all I had to do is just that's not, now I should be able to unplug it. Need 2 hands for this. You know, it's nice that you guys see this real time, not like an edited version where I make it look easy, where I've done it like 3 or 4 times, and I show the video where I'm like, oh, see, it's just that easy. Because in reality, this stuff is just takes a little bit of finesse. Now my connectors were stuck, so I did a gentle, whoops. My connectors were stuck, so I did a gentle squeeze with some needle nose pliers so I could squeeze the tab, because I could not do it with my hand. Squeeze the tab like here. See the white tab move, and then I could just remove it and it slid out. Doesn't take very much pressure. Just be careful not to break your clips. Once that's done, take an E8. To remove the bolt on top of the coil, to remove that. It's barely even on there. It took very little pressure to get that off. Since it's already unplugged, unscrewed, I could just see a little wiggle. Okay. That's one. It takes a little pressure to get that. So that one separated, like here. Okay, no worries. Get that out. So what I did was you can see I just pulled this out. Took a little finesse. I didn't record it because I wasn't sure how long it would take me, but I just grabbed these pliers and improvised just to get a hold of it since it separated. Literally right here like this. So, yeah. So if you do that, that's what you got to do to figure it out. Get that out of there. Now we can do the plugs. Use a thin-walled, this is a magnetic socket. So once I loosen the spark plug, it should just stay in there and come right out. So remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. This is something you don't want to strip off in your motor. Make sure you feel like a good bite. Gently turn counterclockwise, and then it should just come on out. And then here's your spark plug. Okay. Just pops right off. Insert your new one. I don't use any anti-seize or anything like that. It's not recommended for spark plugs because they can change the values. I'm gonna unplug this. I'm just gonna do it by hand, get a feel for it, make sure that I'm twisting it in a good position before I start to just crank it. So if I feel the threads aren't grabbing, I just go by hand, feel the threads catch. And I usually pull it off first to see if it came out. If I pull out and it doesn't, the spark plug is attached to it, it means the threads didn't catch. So after a couple turns, check. And then I just turn it by hand first. It's good enough there. (23 Newton meters). Use my torque wrench. Okay, it's 23 newton meters. That's it. And just repeat the same thing on the other four. There's nothing special really need. I may need a swivel joint depending on back here. We'll see. Okay, next one. I know people are gonna say, well, you don't really need to do a torque wrench on spark plugs, just do hand tight. I know it's possible, yes, because hand tight really isn't that much, but I'm heavy-handed. And I know for sure what I'm gonna do if I do hand tight, I'm gonna over torque it. So the torque wrench is really there to prevent me from overdoing it. Just like before, make sure I can feel if the threads are catching or not. A couple turns, it leaves the magnet. So I'm pretty confident I can continue. I'm just going to go by hand first. All right. This one, just at the 115. I got the plugs done. I'm just putting in the coil packs. Now I'm putting the new coil packs on. Same thing, just set it in there gently and then tighten it up. I'm just gonna do very light pressure for the bolt on the coil pack, but I probably would have had this done probably both sides by now had it not been obviously recording and going through. But yeah, I'm probably gonna be done probably the other side in a half hour, and I'll update you from there. I'm just gonna drop this in, just show you the process for those who might be curious of how this drops in. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but I'll still show. Drops in this way. You can see the bolt right there. And then, let's see here. Get a little pressure to turn the screw. And then you'll plug it in. So let me get that going. Oof. Very important, don't contact any metal with this. Okay, to plug the connector back in, it's easy. Plug the connector into it right there, you get it snug. Press the white clip down to lock it back in place. You hear the audible click, tells it it's locked, it's not gonna slide back out. Use two hands. Well, as you can see, I dropped my tools, my socket's right down there. Can't reach it, so right now I'm stuck.
Sometimes I wonder, why did this happen to me?
Why did this happen to me?
Right, so that's how you do spark plugs. It is 2:50 p.m. So it took me a little bit over 2 hours to do it. I mean, subtract it. I mean, if you minus the time that I had to recover that tool, it probably been about a little over 2 hours. That's recording a video, stopping, obviously taking time to explain things. But yeah, overall, on a scale of 1 to 10 on complexity of spark plugs that I have done. I'm gonna put this on like the scale of 3 because it was pretty straightforward. Once you get the cover off, you get a couple motor intakes off, and it's just right there. I think probably lower than that would be like a little 4-cylinder engine where the bank is right across here. I have done it on an Acura TL before, where it's a little bit more complicated, and of course on the higher end, a Mitsubishi 3000 GT I used to have. It was a twin turbo, and working with that car, it would take me at least a couple of hours just to get access to those plugs, especially in the rear bank, because it was a transverse mounted engine, meaning instead of having like the V8 here or the V6, instead of having it this way, it was here. A little more complicated because you're trying to work bolts between the firewall and the V right there. So yeah, I would say that would be, and I would say actually coming in as a 5 would be my F80 M3, which was easy because it's an inline 6. But there's, again, on the F80, there's a lot of things you got to take off the top, which added time and just overall, I think, complexity of just removing some of these pieces. The less you remove, the easier. But I'll link all the parts in the description, and we'll talk about it here in a little more detail.